confirmation that a discovery of bones found at Lake Mead are in fact partial human remains, according to the Clark County coroner.
An afternoon at the beach ends with a startling discovery.
Parece un cuerpo, esto que está aquí. Bajó el nivel del agua y parece que encontramos un...
It is partial human remains at this point, but we don't have confirmation of exactly what is there at this point.
To visit a loved one at a cemetery leads to a shocking discovery. Thousands of human bones in piles.
It's kind of one of those things you hear about, but you don't ever think you're going to see.
Stumbling upon prehistoric remains, holding millennia-old secrets, or sheltering creatures under their murky surfaces where they don't even belong. Today, we'll be watching all such bizarre discoveries that have shocked the whole world.
Where did you find it?
But there's a little fishing spot, and it looks like someone may have dropped this, what we think is a person.
Going out for a scuba diving expedition, these guys were set to encounter anything that would end up in their way. However, that resolve soon crumbled when they found a bag full of human bones. I guess finding bones is no one's idea of adventure, but the bag wasn't the only remains they found. Venturing ahead, they found another bone, and then another one, and one looked like part of a skull. Collecting them all together, they called the police and handed the creepy bones to them.
Where did you find it?
But there's a little fishing spot, and it looks like someone may have dropped this, what we think is a person.
Lake Rupkund.
We have thousands of human bones scattered around the shores of this lake.
Let's have a look at this lake that has hidden a gruesome secret for ages. Rupkund Lake, nestled high in the Himalayan mountains, was discovered in 1942 by an Indian forest ranger. This frozen lake offers a scene out of a horror movie. Hundreds of human skeletal remains are scattered all around it, some of them dating back thousands of years. This chilling sight has left the world baffled.
Bones. There are still a lot of unanswered questions. Did all those individuals die there, or were they taken there from somewhere else?
Surprisingly, the skeletons belong to 3 distinct groups of people, one even traced as far as Greece. With no clue about how they ended up there, people have given many speculations. One of them suggests that they were struck down by a goddess, Nanda Devi, while on a pilgrimage through the mountains. Human Remain Island.
They just go on and on.
A group of friends went to explore Dead Man's Island in Canada without even expecting what they were about to encounter. The river island, covered in mud, was littered with human remains. Femurs, a bunch of jaw bones with teeth still intact, and a pelvic bone. It was like the island was hit by some fatal apocalypse in the past. The creepy sight sent shivers down the spines of the explorers. After a little investigation, they finally found the reason behind all those bones. Turns out the island was used as a burial site for prisoners who passed away from disease in the 19th century, and coffins were buried 6 feet below the mud.
I wonder if we can tell the ages. It looks like an adult by the size of it.
Bone pile.
Shocking discovery. Thousands of human bones in piles.
A river of bones, featuring every shape and size. A sight that's bound to give you the creeps. This eerie sight was recorded near a cemetery in Bisbee, Arizona, where these bones were piling up. Even the investigating officer had no idea what was going on. But before this bone and ash pile could become any more of a mystery, the cemetery owner came forward admitting that he'd been dumping these remains in the area for the past 5 years. Now you must be wondering why he would do that. Well, turns out the bodies were donated for scientific experiments and then sent there for cremation. But the guy just dumped them in a pile, making up for a horror scene.
Human bones in piles, and one man openly admitting he put them there.
Mudlarking finds. Mudlarking is quite a hobby for adventurers around the world. Searching the banks and shores of rivers for valuable items is pretty amazing. However, sometimes this searching ends up in a creepy discovery. Have a look at some of the most bizarre mudlarking finds. This guy was searching the banks of the Arkansas River when he stumbled upon this bone lying on the ground. Thinking it might be from an animal, he picked it up and just took it with him.
Pretty old, dude. Looks old.
Another woman mudlarking through the River Thames in London found something terrifying. Stuck in the mud was a bone. Although with no teeth or other part of the jaw in sight, she was sure it was human remains.
So when you find human remains, you do need to report them to the police.
In another instant, she found something she was unable to figure out. Covered in mud and sludge was this strange-looking golden thing with different colored stones all around it. Later, cleaning it up, she thought it might be some kind of a lamp. However, I'd like to know what you guys think of it.
Well, I've washed it off, and I'm none the wiser, I'm afraid.
Ancient human skull.
Last year, 2 kayakers found part of a human skull in the Minnesota River.
A couple of years ago, 2 guys were kayaking in the Minnesota River when they stumbled upon a very strange discovery: a portion of a skull. Handing over the find to the authorities, they found that the partial skull was about 8,000 years old. An FBI anthropologist studied it and revealed that it had a severe head injury, as it had left a clear dent in the bone. It's crazy how an ordinary kayaking trip can end up with an ancient discovery. Lake Mead.
Confirmation that a discovery of bones found at Lake Mead are in fact partial human remains, according to the Clark County coroner.
In 2022, a boater came across a mud-caked barrel stuck in the parched riverbed of Lake Mead. Thinking it to be an extraordinary discovery, the man dared to peep inside, and to his horror, he found human remains stuffed within.
It is partial human remains at this point, but we don't have confirmation of exactly what is there at this point.
Those are not the only remains found in that lake. A few weeks after the distressing discovery, a pair of kayakers stumbled upon 2 skeletal remains belonging to male individuals. There have been many other reports as well of partial human remains washing ashore. All these human remains turning up in this sinister spot has left the police officers scrambling to identify the victims. Leg bone.
Rather like a bone.
This man decided to try his luck at a river in Glasgow, Scotland. Equipped with his magnet fishing equipment, he went on to find some amazing stuff. Before he had even cast his magnet in the water, he spotted something on the riverbank that surprised him. At first, he thought it was just a thin, pale stick, but as he picked it up for a closer look, it dawned on him that it was actually a human bone. Thinking it could be related to some criminal activity, he quickly called the police and handed over his find for investigation.
That's a bone, isn't it? Human bone, animal bone.
This wasn't an isolated incident either. Have a look at what this guy captured during his dive in the Chattahoochee River in Georgia. Soon, his routine dive was interrupted by a creepy find: a huge leg bone lying underwater. Putting it in a bag, he took it out and informed the authorities of their unusual discovery and turned it in.
I came across what I think might be a human leg bone, and I want to hand it over.
Bigfoot skull. A few months ago, an Indonesian fossil explorer made an astonishing discovery. Inside a mysterious cave, he unearthed a massive humanoid skull that eerily resembled Bigfoot. Its huge cranium, broad, flat nose, deep eye sockets, and unusually big teeth didn't look anything human. When he shared his find on social media, it sparked a frenzy worldwide. Some believed it might be a link between humans and an unknown hominid species. Others connected it to Indonesian folklore, suggesting it could be the mysterious orang pendek, a short being said to inhabit the remote forests of Sumatra. Whether mythical or not, this discovery fascinated both explorers and researchers around the globe. Okefenokee Swamp. A man, while on a boating trip across Okefenokee Swamp, came face to face with a frightening sight. His boat was surrounded by alligators on all sides, swimming and splashing in the water.
I ain't never seen so many gators in my life.
But despite the hair-raising spectacle, the man chose to keep moving forward, leaving people amazed and concerned for the man's life at the same time. Here is another site of the same phenomena captured in Lake Apopka in Florida. A group of cyclists encountered this eerie yet fascinating sight on a quiet afternoon, something they had never seen before. A dozen gators floating in the tranquil waters of the lake, leaving the netizens abuzz with concerns about the dangers of such an occurrence. But as to the reason behind such an unusually large gathering, we are still waiting to hear from the authorities. Rare fossil. This guy's swamp exploration took a strange turn when he made a stranger discovery. Diving into the deep water, he found a bunch of strange dark fossil remains. Taking it out of the water and getting a closer look, he found out it was actually an ancient mastodon tooth. Along with that, he also found their tusks, but they'd become so fragile after being in the water for so long that he had to fix them up with plastic ropes and then take them out of the water. He brought the fossils home and decided to restore and preserve them all by himself. After letting them completely dry, he used thin glue to fix them up. And amazingly, the tooth and tusks gained their shape once again. Mammoth bone.
Over here, I have the mammoth leg bone, which is that massive bone right
In 2021, a middle school science teacher stumbled upon his greatest discovery while diving in a river in Florida. Catching sight of a mysteriously huge bone, he attempted to drag it out of the water, but the bone was so heavy that his friend had to help him. The bone is believed to be the humerus of a massive Columbian mammoth that roamed the earth 13,000 years ago. The teacher was eager to add the specimen to his collection that he'd curated for his students. Megalodon tooth.
Dude! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
A family's trip to the Peace River ended in a shocking find. With their sieves in hand, they decided to sift through the river sand. Their exploration peaked when the guy found a huge triangular thing in his sieve. He instantly identified that it was a megalodon tooth, a species of giant sharks that's believed to have gone extinct millions of years ago.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Voodoo jars. This scuba diver had made it his mission to hunt every strange thing in the nearby rivers. Taking a look around in a local river, he found a small jar and had no idea what it could be. But that wasn't all. He found another one, and within a few minutes, he had an entire collection of small jars. Taking everything out, he put them together and speculated that the jars probably had something to do with voodoo magic. The uncovered ones could be wish jars, and the one covered might be a cursed one. Kudos to this guy who stuck around and took the time to take all those jars out. River doll. Exploration trips don't always end in amazing finds. Sometimes a few eerie things turn up, like this one. These guys were out treasure hunting in a river and hoped to find a bunch of valuable stuff, but what they found completely shocked them. As one of the guys dove underwater, he noticed an odd-looking doll. Taking it out, he couldn't decide if it was a doll or some kind of statue. But the question was, why did someone throw it in the river? The guys thought the doll was probably haunted, but still decided to add it to their collection. Some creepy ritual doll, or just an unusual find? The question remained unanswered. Creepy wish jar. Get ready for another spooky find. It's like the rivers are under some horror spell. Diving underwater, this guy got his hands on an ordinary-looking green soda bottle. Picking it up, it was the inside contents that left him creeped out. Opening up the bottle, he found a bunch of knives with handwritten notes wrapped around each one. He took one of them out and opened up the tight thread, but before he could read the note, it tore apart in the water. Thinking these might be cursed, he put the bottle in a bag and left it at the bottom. This was by far the creepiest find. Dino tracks.
A little bit of the dirt and dust away, this is what you'll find. Dinosaur tracks.
A record-breaking drought in Texas has led to the remarkable discovery of a dinosaur trail in Dinosaur Valley State Park. Scientists believe the footprints belong to the sauropposeidon, standing at 60 feet tall and weighing almost 100,000 pounds, which used to roam this terrain millions of years ago. The paleontologists are doing everything to preserve the tracks, possibly the longest in the world. Today, these footprints, left 60 million years ago, have become a popular attraction for tourists and locals alike. Croc tooth. The way these guys were acting so nonchalant around the alligator, you might think it was a prop. But wait till one of them whipped out a fleshy treat. Playing the gator with food, the guy had his sights set on something else. A gator tooth lying nearby. After carefully retrieving the goods, he pulled back and couldn't believe his eyes at what he had found. The gator must have lost it during one of its prey fights, but it sure made for an amazing find. Ancient shipwreck. A drought in the Mississippi River has uncovered a site from a long-lost era. A shipwreck that's over 100 years old in Baton Rouge. According to local archaeologists, the wreck is thought to be the Brook Hill Ferry, which sank in a storm in 1915. In the early 1900s, Baton Rouge was a key port for goods traveling by river, since there were no roads. Now, people can visit the site, touch the wreck, walk around it, and learn about its history firsthand. Though the river will eventually cover the wreck again, it offered a unique chance to connect with the past. River poisoning. Dozens of fish and other sea creatures have washed up on the shores of Malaysian islands, alarming the locals. This was not an isolated incident. Many other reports have also come in of similar behavior. These fish carcasses have sparked environmental concerns, with some people thinking it's a sign of the end times. Taking notice of the situation, the authorities stepped in, saying this was caused by severe water pollution from dumping radioactive waste to fishing nets and other dangerous material. Thankfully, they have begun investigations and will be taking strict action to prevent such incidents from reoccurring.
Nilainya mungkin takkan dapat turun dalam 3 bulan.
Diamond Lady. Where droughts are a cause for concern, they also blur the boundary between the past and the present, bringing historical relics to the surface. Meet the magnificent riverboat casino, the Diamond Lady, resurfacing again after years of being underwater in the Mississippi River. More than 300 feet long and elaborately decorated, the well-preserved state of the Diamond Lady can only make you wonder about its past glory. Launched in April of 1991, the Diamond Lady was the first legal gambling vessel with beautiful white railings, elevators, and many other luxuries. Having sunk in a severe storm in 2021, the Diamond Lady has become a great attraction for locals who frequent it and even take souvenirs from the boat. Unknown creature. A park ranger captured an unknown creature on his mobile phone while patrolling around the Kansas lake in China. The creature swam through the river, its form appearing to be composed of shadows and waves, much like a serpent shape. This clip sparked a lot of theorizing. Many viewers commented this was the Kansas monster making its second appearance, while others thought it was the mythical dragon guardian, with some joking this was Nessie enjoying its holiday in China. Sea monster. A bunch of guys were out in Lufoyle River shooting a short film when they encountered a massive creature swimming in the water. With only a third of its body visible, the creature glided in the water, leaving a long trail in its wake. The creature has left the witnesses convinced that it was no regular whale, thinking if it could be the Loch Ness Monster. After watching the video, many related their own stories of spotting a similar creature, while others were sure this was some kind of a river monster by the look of its snake-like movements. Serpent creature. Apart from human remains, our water bodies have got all kinds of strange things. A local was walking by the Coburg Creek that had become a raging river. As he was recording the sight, his camera accidentally captured this giant creature being swept with the waves. with a snout resembling a gator and long, slithery body like a snake. The guy thought it was a serpentine monster that was taking over the creek. As the clip ended up online, many believed the serpent theory, saying it was indeed a monster, while others were skeptical, thinking it could be a hoax. Carp invasion.
They're everywhere.
What is the most hated fish in America? Well, that's the common carpfish, also known as the Asian carp. This species is an invasive one. Entering the lakes and rivers, they disturb the aquatic ecosystems, and they've even reached the Australian waters. The thing is, people refuse to eat this fish as it's known to contain toxic chemicals and can be a health hazard. With all the hazards and problems they bring, they sure provide a pretty cool show of frantic jumping. That's because they easily get triggered by the sound of the boats and start to jump out of the water, creating this unusual spectacle.
Over the last few months, unbelievable.
Whale in pond. A clip posted a few years ago showed a group of people in special suits trying to rescue a beached whale that had ended up in a city center pond in Madrid, Spain. The unusual sight drew the attention of passers-by, who were amazed by the 15-meter-long creature and took photos of it. Without any natural disaster to explain its presence, everyone wondered how the whale got there. It turns out that nature isn't the only threat these gentle giants face. Humans are also a danger for them. This scene was actually an art installation by a Belgian artist who wanted to spark a conversation about the environment. The incredibly realistic sperm whale heightened both the unintended harm humans cause and our often failing efforts to save these magnificent animals. Humo dinosaur tracks.
Looks like a giant footprint. Put my foot right there.
This guy's exploration around Texas took an unexpected turn when he made a groundbreaking discovery. Footprints, a whole lot of them. But they weren't just any footprints. These were enormous. To show just how big they were, here the guy put his own foot next to them for comparison.
Giant footprint. Put my foot right there.
The prints, however, complete with 5 toes, couldn't be of any human. What's even stranger is that these giant footmarks were surrounded by dinosaur footprints. This sparked a lot of speculation. Some dismissed the clip, saying humans didn't exist during dinosaur times, while others called for experts to authenticate the find. However, there's unfortunately been no official word on it yet. Bigfoot footprint. A few months back, Russell Lacourt, an expert from the show Expedition Bigfoot on the Travel Channel, went out on an investigative exploration near Sandbar along with his team. And their expedition resulted in the discovery of giant human-like footprints, sparking excitement about a potential Bigfoot find. Armed with high-tech tools, the team scanned the footprints for DNA to gather concrete evidence. The footprints themselves measured about 16 inches long. Determined to unravel the mystery, they decided to focus their research on the area. What do you think of these footprints? Could they have been left by Bigfoot or some other bipedal creature? Pale River Creature.
Ratusan bangkai babi ditemukan terdampar di hilir sungai Bedera.
This mysterious creature, discovered by a group of fishermen, has made headlines across the globe. A pale-looking entity seemed to be floating in the water, almost appearing lifeless. Puzzled by the strange sight, they uploaded the video searching for answers. Since then, it's been making rounds online, sparking debate among people. While some suggested that it could be an alien carcass, others thought it was an animal hybrid, and a few expressed concerns about the river's sanitation, fearing the carcass would lead to disease outbreaks. Feeding frenzy. Can you guess what's the most dangerous job in the world? Well, here it is. One slip, and you could be a goner. Look at these massive crocs in a feeding frenzy rolling in the water as the feeders throw chunks of meat at them. The viewers were left feeling terrified and impressed by this incredible display of these nightmarish creatures competing for their food. To us, this might seem like a dangerous feat, but to these feeders, it's an everyday practice. River anomaly. Here is something even scarier than gators in a feeding frenzy. A terrifying creature was caught on camera by a man boating along a river in Brunei. The creature had an unusually large jaw lined with massive teeth, looking like a prehistoric beast. The monstrous creature made its way steadily towards the man's boat, giving him the scare of his life. But as it splashed dangerously near, the camera cuts, leaving us all in suspense. One can only hope the man got out of it safely. Mysterious creature. From river monsters to unknown remains, and now animal carcasses, the river hides some really gruesome secrets. A man, while searching for gems and minerals in the Colorado River, happened upon a burnt carcass of an animal. Lying on one side, with teeth hanging out of its mouth, gray fur still clinging at some places, this creature presented a creepy sight. If you're wondering what it is, netizens were eager to step in with their theories. Some called it a hybrid possum. Others believed it was the legendary chupacabra, while one individual pointed out that it could be a small dog bloated from decomposition. Whale stranded. It's not every day that you get to witness such a surreal sight. A large number of whales got stranded in Tasmania, Australia. The cameraman managed to capture this footage of a staggering 270 whales stuck on a sandbar. The experts identified them as pilot whales and reported that about 25 of them had already succumbed to their tragic fate. But thankfully, the rest of the whales were rescued with the help of special equipment. Close encounter.
Jessica! It's alligator!
A bunch of inner tubers were enjoying a relaxing float down Florida's Ichetucknee River when suddenly their day took a turn for the worse. A close encounter with a terrifying predator. The alligator appeared out of nowhere, startling the woman who quickly warned her friend to steer clear of the reptile.
Look at Devin, they're on the banks! Get out of the water, you stay in it, you ding-dong!
Eerily motionless, the gator lay on a fallen tree trunk, hissing menacingly at one of the inner tubers who drifted too close. But thankfully, it made no advances towards the humans, and no one was harmed in this dangerous encounter. It seemed like the gator had similar plans of enjoying the peaceful river. Whale or river monster? A local man, while cruising through the Thames River, noticed something strange in the water, right beside him. A dark, partially hidden shape appeared to be slowly making its way through the river. Convinced that it was some kind of a river monster, he posted the video online to share his shocking discovery. As the clip made its rounds, a lot of speculation arose, with some people concerned for the man's life, while others wanted to know what it actually was. Experts quickly jumped in to clear the air, saying it was a humpback whale that accidentally ended up in the river. Here's another sighting of a whale, just a bit more dramatic than the previous one. Some fishermen were on a peaceful fishing trip when suddenly a massive whale came bursting out of the calm waters. What a scare that feisty whale must have given them! But that raises the question, how did such a massive whale end up in a river? Scientists have speculated that it might have been due to a navigational error made by the whale. Reptile encounter. We all know wildlife isn't really familiar with the rules of our world, and like to enter places they aren't really welcome. Like these reptiles who invaded the most unexpected of places, a golf course. Players were shocked to see the PGA turn into an animal invasion documentary. Chilling by the water, taking a dip, scaring people away with their wide-open mouths, these gators seem to have taken over the field. Now, this one might just take the cake. This 12-foot-long behemoth was caught casually strolling in a South Carolina golf course. It seems these reptiles have gotten quite the taste for freshly cut grass. Amazon whale.
Onde aqui nós encontramos uma baleia imensa.
While exploring the depths of the Amazon forest, a pair of scientists encountered a massive humpback whale lying deep in the woods. It was right in the middle of the undergrowth in the island of Marajo, with no sign of water nearby. Measuring up to 36 feet long and with no visible injuries, the whale was estimated to be only 12 months old, leaving the scientists scratching their heads. Some experts believe that it had already lost its life before being tossed inland by strong waves and tides.
Pessoal, essa é a baleia que encalhou aqui em Surreal.
Swamp rats invasion.
It was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how many of them there are.
In Kraus-Baker Park, residents were rewarded with a very gross sight when giant rodents went wild. These weren't your usual rats, they were nutria, almost as big as small dogs, with glowing orange teeth and long tails. Pretty eerie, right? These jumbo rats were munching through 3 pounds of food every day. Where were they getting the food, I hear you ask? Well, they took snacks that people had put out for other animals. Imagine strolling in the park and bumping into one of these beasts. I know I'd dash away in a heartbeat. Plants were vanishing, and it's starting to look like a horror movie scene. And the solution? Just don't feed the swamp rats.
You end up with erosion and destabilized banks and decreased water quality.
Dark creatures.
Sampai. Where?
A guy walking past the Tukad Penat Bridge in Indonesia spotted something very odd floating away in the water. A long, dark object raced away, followed by a bunch of the same ones. The guy was left baffled as he had no idea what it was. Posting the clip online, he started a frenzy of wild speculations. Locals thought it might be the river spirits making an appearance. However, skeptics said these might be snakes, but their lack of movement made the theory unlikely. Here's another incident where a similar dark, unnaturally long thing was captured by a woman who was out on her nighttime stroll.
Udah mendekati.
No one has been able to tell what they were, leaving people questioning what lies in the murky depths. Smoking fish. Well, this video is just as bizarre as the title sounds. In a dried-up, muddy river in Indonesia, a group of friends found this truly fascinating fish. They stared in amazement as the fish emerged from the mud and started exhaling smoke. Since when did these guys start smoking? This clip left many people searching for answers. A few netizens were even concerned about the fish's well-being, but no explanation has surfaced for this mysterious video. Sewer creature. We all have heard about the monster under our beds, but what about the monster beneath our feet, in the sewers? Well, get ready to unlock another fear with this mysterious video recorded in a sewer in Manchester. The footage shows a dark sewer column, when suddenly, a dark figure appeared at the end of it. With eerie glowing eyes and what seemed to be a humanoid head, the creature peeped into the column, ducking his head back the moment he noticed the cameraman. The monster disappeared as quickly as it appeared, making us wonder if it was just a figment of our imaginations. Now, it's time for today's open discussion. This picture circulating online featured a very gruesome sight. It was captured when Ukraine decided to make a brave effort to find and bring home fallen soldiers from the war. The searchers found skeletal remains and other personal effects that once belonged to the soldiers. They carefully checked the remains and the surrounding area for any signs that could help them identify them before sending them back home. Although the sight is very sad, it's a touching reminder of the dedication of these martyrs. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.